I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. This is, or attending anyway. We've had a great turnout here so far, and we're really pleased with that. I'd like to take a couple of minutes just to give you an idea of what it is we want to do here with the Type 20. Essentially, our idea is that we want to be able to give valuable marketing advice to help businesses grow. And we don't want to waste your time. Those are the two main priorities we have. We only want to give you stuff that's actually usable and has real value to you. So here's a little about us. We've been in business for just over 10 years, and we have worked with and interviewed lots and lots of business owners and C-suite executives over the years. And of course, I actually I have a longer history in marketing that goes back beyond that. So there's a lot of experience in all of what we're going to give you guys. What we've been able to do is kind of distill some core principles about marketing down that will help any business. So we're going to start with the sort of big picture fundamentals in this episode, and then in our later episodes, we'll get into more specific strategies and tactics that you can use and apply to your own businesses, and ways that you can actually start to grow your businesses and achieve your goals with those tactics and strategies. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to give you the 3 most important things you need to know about marketing and do before you spend a dime. These are the things that will keep your marketing tight, focused, and efficient. So let's get started. I've got a little presentation here. Let's get started, and we'll start talking about how you think about marketing. Let's see here. All right. Hopefully you guys can see this on your screen here. Thumbs up, anybody, or thumbs down if you're not seeing this. Okay, great. Appreciate it. Gustavo, thank you very much. Michelle, thanks. So what should marketing do? There's a lot of folks have very different ideas about what marketing should do for them. And again, we've kind of distilled things down a little bit to some pretty simple, I think some pretty simple descriptions. Good marketing brings in leads, and there's nothing wrong with that. Most businesses that we work with are interested in getting more leads, but we like great marketing, and great marketing solves problems. So let me give you a couple of examples here. Business challenges are often, well, we all have them. Every company and every client I've ever talked to has all kinds of challenges with their business. And the thing that we feel like great marketing does is it addresses those challenges without just trying to fill the top of the funnel with sales leads. So let me give you I'll give you a couple of good examples here. We have a pretty good track record with HVAC companies. One specific one is WG Speaks. They're local to us here in the Richmond, Virginia area. And while, again, they always want the phone to ring, once we started talking with them, and again, this is something we've learned from all HVAC companies, is they have very specific business needs, specific to their industry. So, for example, HVAC companies generally have 2 very busy seasons, winter and summer. That's when everyone's heating and cooling breaks down. And again, generally during those times of year, when it's at its coldest and it's at its hottest, they don't have a problem getting business. They are running at full capacity most of the time during those times. But what they have is a little bit of a lull during spring and fall seasons. And what that means for their business is that they could have technicians just standing around. Now, they can't lay people off just because it's a slow time. So they actually have to keep their staff, especially if they want to keep the good technicians. So the real issue, the real challenge they have, the business challenge they have, is not so much just getting new businesses, but getting the right types of business at the right time. So what we did was we were able to implement some programs, and we've done this for multiple HVAC companies, to help encourage their existing client base, rather than just trying to reach out to get new clients, but encourage their existing client base to sign up for maintenance agreements and things like that during this summer during the spring and fall, during those slow seasons. So again, that's a way we can use marketing. Once we dig into, or once you dig into what your business needs are, you can use marketing to address more specific areas. Here's another example, and this is completely different. We did some work with a company, carloan.com is one of their properties, one of their website properties, and they're kind of like you'd expect. Carloan.com, they are a consumer car loan application service. So if you are interested in a car loan, you can submit an application through them. Now, the real business that they do, though, is providing car loan applications to automobile dealerships. And while it's important for them to generate those car loan applications on their website, the real thing they wanted us to solve for them was they wanted to be able to show up high on a Google search for car loans. And the reason is that supported their sales staff. Their sales staff wanted to be able to call automobile dealerships and say, hey, type in car loan on Google. See that's us. There we are, carloan.com. We're right up here at the top. And that helped build credibility and authority for them. So for them, it was more of a branding exercise. It wasn't really so much about bringing any sorts of leads, but it was about the ability for them to show up high so that their potential new clients could see that. Let's see. So, one second, guys. All right. Another thing that I think most folks need to understand is that marketing is experimental. What works 100% of the time? We haven't, in all my years of doing this and the experience of all of our people, we haven't found anything that works 100% of the time. Now, there's experience and knowledge about the particular industries, and marketing in general gives us a head start, and it certainly tilts the odds in our favor. But there isn't anything that works every time, all the time. So I think when you start thinking about marketing and you understand that it is experimental, that's a mindset that you have to have when you go into it. And I think that helps with commitment to success. When you understand that sometimes things aren't going to work out exactly the way you expect them to. The corollary to that is it's almost nothing that can't be improved, even if your marketing is working well. Tweaking, testing, different iterations of marketing, these are all good things to do. You should always be trying to do new things, even if you've got something that's working well. Circumstances change, the marketplaces change, so there's always an opportunity to stay on top of it and monitor and potentially make some improvements over time. And so here's what we propose to everyone who wants to do marketing: measure everything. That's a lot easier in the digital realm. That's one of the reasons we like digital marketing, because you can measure just about everything. And then you have to be dispassionate about it. The results will come in. The numbers will tell you something, and you can't try to skew them. You have to take them for what they are. And sometimes, again, like a scientist, you might have a hypothesis that a particular type of marketing might work. But if you're truly dispassionate and you really trust the data and the numbers, then you can move on from something that doesn't work, or you can put more energy into something that does work. The fun part about this, at least to me, is the learning. So keep those things in mind, and that'll keep you on track with your marketing. So we'll start with these are the three things that we really want to talk about today, that you really kind of take to heart, and you really need to do and understand as a basis for any good marketing campaign. First one is to be committed. And here's a question about this: is marketing an expense? some people will tell you, yes, it is an expense. And the short answer is no, they're wrong. Marketing is not an expense. Marketing is an investment. The term you hear a lot when you talk to practically any marketers, ROI, that's return on investment. And that's the way we really do need to think about marketing. And that helps with the commitment. You have to understand that you're not just, it's not something like your rent or what have you. This is, marketing should be an investment in your success. You should expect that it will give you more than you put into it. So there is marketing is investment. Here's another example of that. So if you think of like the S&P 500, in case you don't know what that is, it's a stock index, kind of like the Dow Jones, and it measures how the best or the top 500 stocks move over time. So if you'd invested in an index fund for the S&P 500 in the middle of February last year, and then you looked at it again a month later, here's what you would have seen. Well, this is a pretty steep drop here. It's about 30%. So this is over about a 30-day period last year. And the reason I point this out is to sort of highlight that there's short-term risk in practically any investment, but in the long run, investors tend, well, at least the smart ones, tend to get the rewards. So what you'll see here now is that investment over a year period. Hey, look at that. It's a 16.5% gain instead of that 30% drop. So again, the point here is that when you think of investments, you have to think, let's look at this as the long term. Let's look at what this is going to do for us over time. In case you're interested in seeing what that S&P 500 has done over a longer term, here's the rest of this graph going back 5 years. So again, look at long-term gains here. It's almost doubled in 5 years. The lesson here is that if you want to be successful with your marketing, you have to be committed. You have to be committed to it as an investment, and you have to be committed to it over a longer period of time. The second thing, and this is great business advice regardless of where you are with your marketing, define your goals. This is an interesting one. Again, I've interviewed any number of business owners. 99% of the time, if I just ask them, what is it you want? What do you want to achieve? If I just ask them that and I leave it open-ended like that, they're going to say something like more customers or more money or more phone calls or more leads. And again, those are fine, but let's dig in a little deeper. Everyone wants their business to grow, but how much? And by when do you want it to grow by that much? These are real things that you should be specific about. Another question here is, what issues do you want to solve? And again, this goes back to what we were saying earlier. You can use marketing as more than just a lead generating device. Some people have staffing issues. Now, I've talked to folks who have their biggest issue is maintaining staff. So they can use marketing to try to find new employees. There are ways to do that. I spoke with a guy recently whose biggest business need wasn't sales in the traditional sense, but he needed investors. So you have a different type of you have to have a different type of mindset. You have a different type of messaging, a different approach. But thinking about those business challenges you have, those can really help you define where you should focus your marketing. And what goals do you have outside of getting more customers? There's some concrete examples, like do you want to lease more office space? Do you want to buy 5 new trucks and put them on the road? Those are some things that you can think about too. And when you have those in place, it it can help you, again, it can help you get some sort of a better focus on what it is you can try to achieve through your marketing. The more specific you are about what it is you want, the better the marketing will work for you. And the third thing, and this is actually a lot of fun for me too, define your audience. This is, so for example, we've got a couple of good examples here. What does your most profitable customer or client look like? So this is where you need to spend some time and you really think about it. You go through all of your customers or clients, or the data that you have on them, and say, okay, who are we making the most money off of? What types of services or products are they buying where we can make the most money? And that can help define who you want to point your marketing toward, what you want your target audience to look like. Another way to look at that is, what does your favorite customer or client look like? So what do they have in common? Maybe they're not necessarily the most profitable, but they are maybe the least hassle. That's a reasonable thing. If you get more fulfillment out of helping certain types of customers or clients, and you want that to be part of your business, then you really can sort of focus on that too. Think about those folks, and what do they have in common? Where do they live? Where do they work? What do they do for fun? All of these things, the more you know about your audiences and the ones that will help your business the most, the better chance you have of getting through to them and getting a message to them that makes them want to do business with you. And if you have these clients, what is it they like about your service or your products? This is super important too. There are a lot of different answers to this, of course, but if you start to hear the same phrases over and over from your clients or your customers, or you get the same types of things in reviews from them, then those might be the kind of things that you want to focus on. And again, focus your messaging on the things that they like the most. What is it that you're doing well and that they appreciate? So all of this, again, is a very, it seems very broad and basic, I guess, in some ways. But I think it's what I run into is that a lot of folks, a lot of business owners don't really sit down and try to really take this seriously. And I think that's if you want to do your own marketing, this is an absolute necessity. Of course, when we work with our clients, we help them define these things, and we'll ask all these questions and the tough questions and get them to really give us some answers about it. But we know that a lot of times, if you're running a business, it's not always easy to carve out the time to do these things, even though you should. But this is really not a bad, it's not a bad exercise. And honestly, we think of it as kind of like homework. But not so much work. Again, this helps you define the type of business that you want to run and how you want to be profitable and how you want to be successful with that business. And then what we can do is we can fold that into marketing and make it go from there. So we want to keep this quick. Obviously, we're probably just a couple of minutes over already, but apologize for that. We just are not into that big, long, excessive webinar thing. So if you have some questions, you can submit them via chat right now, and we'll be happy to look at those. Let's see. A note from Gary. I want to. This is great stuff, Scott. Thank you, Gary. I apologize. I had my screen full of something else. I just saw your message. Thanks very much for that. Let's see. I think we do have some questions here. If you can bear with me for just a second. Let's see. All right. I apologize, guys. We're going to end the screen share. All right. Get back to me here. Let's see. Michelle says, what metrics do you track? That's a great question, Michelle. We track a lot of different metrics in digital marketing. And again, that's one of the great things that we can do is we can track a lot of different things. And really, we track everything we can. Honestly, that's the biggest thing. But it's also dependent on what it is you want to achieve with your marketing. So, I mean, let's just say, for example, you want people to fill out a form on your site. That's a metric that will track. How many form fills did you get, and where did they come from? Which marketing efforts did they come from? Site visits is one thing that we can track, but that doesn't always tell you everything you need to know. So the more things we're able to track, the better we're able to sort of get a bigger picture of the whole. And with the right analysis, you kind of put all those different metrics together, and you get a good picture of what it is that your clients are doing, and how you can improve their experience and sort of drive them to achieve whatever goals it is you're setting for yourself. Gary says, how important is market saturation when determining message? That's a great question, Gary. Also, by that, do you mean what is the level of competition that you're looking at there? Okay. Yes. Well, I think your message really should be. I guess the more crowded a particular marketplace is, the more interesting your message is going to have to be. The tougher it is, obviously, to stand out. But if you really have a value proposition that stands out, above your competition, then you should be able to get that out. And again, messaging it's important. You want to know what it is that your customers are looking for, and so you can address the messaging to that. On the other hand, again, good messaging, good quality search engine optimization or ads, they're going to drive the customers anyway. But yeah, I think if you're the only one in your area, for example, if you've got a geographically constricted sort of area that you're working in, and you're the only one who's doing what you're doing, your message is maybe a little less important. But yeah, I mean, you always have to pay attention to that.